In this lesson, we'll learn how to export our brochure as a PDF. Alright, so in the previous lesson we learned about snippets and libraries, and I've gone ahead and added a few more of these color guides throughout our brochure here, and now we're ready to go ahead and maybe export this as a PDF so we can send that over to our printer to be printed. Now, it is important to be in close communication with your commercial printer because oftentimes they'll want the actual native InDesign files as well as the placed images and fonts and so on and so forth. And as a matter of fact, you'll need to package all this up to send to them. But we'll actually cover packaging your files here in the next lesson. But right now I want to show you how to export this as a PDF. Now, if you remember when we first started this brochure, I showed you how to set up 6 individual pages, then organize them into 2 spreads to create our brochure. This let us apply margins and columns to each individual portion of this brochure, each individual panel. Now, it's important to understand how to export this as a PDF because you don't want your printer to print each one of these individual panels separately. You want him to print the entire spread. So I tell you what we're going to need to do first. Let's go ahead and before we go to export this, let's go ahead and go to Window. And let's go ahead and go to Utilities, and we're going to choose Background Tasks. Now, it's going to open up a blank panel right now, but I want to show you what this means here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and go over to File. We're going to choose Export, and let's go ahead and save this as a PDF. Now, I'm going to rename this to Infuse Interiors. Let's call it Final. And now I want you to look in the Save As Type drop-down. There's actually 2 different selections for PDFs here. You have an interactive PDF and a print PDF. So it's important to choose the right one. In this course, we've created a document that was intended for print, so I'm going to go ahead and choose Print PDF. So we'll go ahead and hit Save on this. And we're going to get our Export Adobe PDF dialog. Now, there's a lot of different options here, and I'm not going to have time to go through everything with you here. But what I want to do is show you exactly what you need to do to get the outcome we need. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and first thing we're going to do out the gate, we're going to click this Spreads box right here on the Generals tab, or the General tab. So we'll go ahead and click that and make sure there's a check mark there. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this as all pages. Now, I'm also going to select smallest file size here just so that when I include this PDF in your project files, it's not huge. So you'll notice here that because of that, in the summary, it's going to give me a warning about saying some of the fonts may not be embedded and things like that for the smallest file size, but that's okay. I want you to come over here and take a look at marks and bleeds with me. So this is where we can apply printer's marks to our document. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to apply all printer's marks for this course. We're actually just going to apply crop marks. So I'm going to go ahead and click the little box next to crop marks here, and you'll see that a check mark appears there. Now we can change the type, the weight, and the offset for those, but I'm just going to leave those as they are. I'm going to leave those with the default settings. There's only one other setting I'm going to change here in the PDF settings. I'm going to tell it that I want to use the document bleed settings, because remember, we set up an 1/8 inch bleed for our document. So I'm going to go ahead and check that here, and from here I'm going to go ahead and hit Export. Now, take a look here. We're free to work and move around in InDesign as we need to. Our PDF is exporting as a background task. This is something new that's new to InDesign CS5. Used to, you'd get a big nasty exporting PDF window here on your screen, and if you were exporting a 100, 200, 300 page PDF, your InDesign would be occupied for a little while you're exporting that. So that's really cool that Adobe has moved that task to the background, and now you can work in your document while it's exporting your PDF. So I tell you what, let me come over here and find that PDF, and we'll open that up, and I want to show you what the end result looks like here. We'll just open that up in Adobe Reader here, and right now we're looking at the first spread. Now remember, because we checked spreads, it's exported all of those pages as the same spread. So our printer is going to be able to load in a standard tabloid sheet of paper, and he's going to be able to print this side of the brochure on one sheet of paper. Then he's going to be able to load that same sheet of paper in to the printer and print the other side of the brochure on the back side of that. Now, if we zoom in here really close, you'll be able to see we've also added in crop marks for our pages. You can see that here on the corners, and that's going to tell them where they need to trim to accurately trim our bleed. Now we've also got crop marks here in the center. We've got one here and we've got one here. Now these are going to be really handy because this is where the scores are going to need to go to apply the folds to our brochure. Now a printer, when they create a brochure like this, they're going to have to score the paper before they fold it. So their scoring machine, this is going to tell that machine where exactly that score needs to be for our folds to be in precisely the right place. So we'll just go ahead and zoom out here. And now, again, just wanted to reiterate, you want to be in close communication with your printer. Will they need just a PDF? Will they need the native files? If they're going to need the native files, you're going to need to know how to package and assemble all those files to send to them. So in the next lesson, we're going to pick up where we're leaving off here, and we're going to learn how to package our files here in InDesign.